thanks to today's sponsor, Keeps. We'll hear more about them later. Mr. Satan and the rest of the Z-Fighters arrive at the Cell Games, shaking hands. Goku and him finally get a proper introduction, with Satan happy to see another world martial arts champion, along with Tenshinhan. Satan did his best to keep the symbiote calm, though the fighters noticed that something was bothering him. He assured them that he was a-okay. If that 16 freak were to show up again, he'd turn him into scrap metal. And, of course, 16 appears behind Hercule, saying that he's non-recyclable. Hercule jumps in fright and freaks out. Krillin explains they reprogrammed 16, and he's on their side now. Hercule regains his composure and apologizes to 16, thanking him for joining their fight. 16 states he simply wants to save the world. Goku approaches Mr. Satan and asks how the symbiote is doing. Hercule summons a few tendrils in his hand, as he says that the symbiote seems to be calm, answering each of his thoughts and commands for now. He does say that he is worried though, that it's been far too quiet lately. He has been training, but, well, it really wasn't fun for him. Before anyone asks what he means by that, Cell decides to speak up and welcomes everyone to the Cell Games. With everyone's arrival, the games commence. The first person to step up to the ring is Hercule. Cell frowns, asking why this clown thinks he can face him, but Satan simply stares down at Cell. No boasting nor showboating. Hercule is completely focused on Cell. He takes off his cape and declares that Cell won't be hurting anyone else. Cell chuckles, asking him to bring it. In fact, he's willing to give him a free shot. Goku says that Cell shouldn't underestimate Hercule, and before Cell can wonder why, the human charges towards him and punches a hole through the bio-android. Cell is completely dumbfounded, and even the Z-Fighters are surprised. Hercule was this strong? Cell didn't have any defenses up. He didn't expect this. Cell gets rushed down with a barrage of kicks and punches, and he is forced to go on the defensive. He's furious but intrigued. After regenerating, the android asks Mr. Satan for his name, as well as apologizing for brushing him off as a joke. He wonders how a normal Earthling could have gotten this strong, and he says it's because of his vegetables, drinking milk, and staying in school, winking towards the camera. Cell says that it doesn't matter anyways. They'll just have an interesting fight. The two clash once again, and the battle intensifies, with the Z-Fighters left speechless at the level of power and display. Piccolo wonders out loud just how Satan got this amount of power in such a short time. Cell's counterattack starts to overwhelm Hercule, and he's forced to unveil the symbiote's power, creating tendrils to grab onto Cell and throw him away from him. Cell is even more intrigued, and he demands to see everything he's got, as Cell uses more of his techniques, such as multiform, death beams, and telekinesis. Mr. Satan uses more of the symbiote's abilities too. In a move that shocks everyone, Mr. Satan bulks up. It almost looks like a Super Saiyan. He's even glowing with the same aura. Cell asks for the meaning of this, and Gohan suddenly realizes something. If the symbiote adapts by gaining abilities from the creature it bonds with, that means the symbiote gained Goku's abilities to turn into a Super Saiyan. Satan chimes in, saying that getting this power wasn't easy. He realized that he got stronger after nearly dying to 16. He deduced that maybe he could get stronger if he almost dies again. So, for the past few days, during his free time, Hercule would blast and seriously injure himself. After the symbiote would heal him, he noticed that he would get a little bit stronger every time. Motivated to defeat Cell and protect his daughter, he isn't a Super Saiyan, but the symbiote is mimicking the transformation. Within the suit itself, Satan is normal. Hercule charges a Kamehameha, but before Cell can get away, the symbiote grabs onto Cell with the tendrils. He fires the beam, which blows off the top half of Cell. Hercule and the others believe they've won, but Goku yells at Hercule to get out of the way, but before the human can react, he's pierced by several death beams. Cell wasn't killed, he just regenerated. The android says that he had a lot of fun, but the battle is over. It's time to move on from this toy. Hercule falls to the ground and starts to heal, but Cell appears in front of him, locking Satan in a bear hug and activating his android barrier, completely electrocuting Hercule. He screams in pain as the symbiote twists and coils away from his body, laughing at the Z-Fighters. He's barely alive when Krillin gives him a senzu bean. Hercule recovers and realizes that he can't feel the symbiote anymore. Cell must have killed it, but there's no time to mourn.
Hey kids, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Before we continue with this conversation, let me tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will have some sort of male pattern baldness by 35? It reminds me of a certain Dragon Ball character that lost his hair by GT. Well, you've gotta do something about it early if you don't want that, right? With Keeps, you can do just that. A licensed doctor will review your information online and show you the best treatment available for your case. Then, the treatment will be shipped to you every 3 months. What's great is that you can contact your Keeps doctor 24/7 with any concerns along the way, as well as track your own progress. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, then go to keeps.com/smugstick and click the link in the description to get 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/smugstick. Anyways, back to the discussion.
And now back to our show.
Next up is Goku versus Cell, an amazing fight where Goku and Cell seem almost matched, but Satan realizes something is moving on the ground. Satan's eyes widen while he runs towards the arena, but Tien and Piccolo stop him. Satan yells at Cell to get away, but it's too late. The symbiote strikes, latching itself onto Cell. He tries to open his aura again to defeat the symbiote, but the being is already deep in his circulatory system. Cell struggles, but he's eventually enveloped by the parasite. Everyone watches in terror as the symbiote finishes bonding with Cell, creating a new, more horrifying Venom than ever seen before. Satan knew he couldn't trust Venom again. He was using this as a chance to take revenge on Goku. He should have known Venom was still using him. Venom Cell feels power, true power, beyond his own perception of perfection. Hercule asks Venom would he do something like that, but Venom simply scoffs, saying that Satan was going to abandon him anyways, just like Goku had before. All he had left now was revenge. He wanted to hurt the martial artist, so they could feel the pain he felt. Cell was the perfect instrument for his revenge. Satan couldn't believe it, but if the symbiote was affected by whoever he bonded to, then Cell would corrupt him even further. This was truly dangerous. Goku attempted to utilize instant transmission and the Kamehameha, but Venom sees it coming. As Goku teleports to Venom to launch the blast, Venom places 2 fingers on his forehead, teleporting behind Goku in the blink of an eye.
You may know everything I'm going to do, but I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
Mr. Satan couldn't do anything but watch as the Z-Fighters jump into action. Venom easily dodges and weaves nearly every attack, but they were boring him, so he created multiple smaller symbiote-covered Cell Juniors. They all had different colors, though the red one seemed to be the most vile. Goku does what he can to defend his friends, with Gohan right by his side, but when it is obvious that he doesn't stand a chance, Goku turns to his son and pleads with him to go all out to save the world. The Venom Symbiote begins to absorb Goku relentlessly. He drops out of Super Saiyan, his arm goes limp. Gohan can't feel much of his power anymore. 16 jumps in the way of the tendrils, snapping them off, but the symbiote simply 16 instead, devouring him whole. This was the last piece Gohan needed to snap into Super Saiyan 2. His power was massive, unlike anything they've ever felt before. Vegeta and Trunks couldn't help but cheer Gohan on as he defeated the various Cell Juniors, with the symbiotes disintegrating at the torch of his aura. While Gohan does this, Satan takes a chance to look at Cell, pleading with Venom to return to him instead. Venom rejects him, saying he was about to abandon him like everyone else, but Hercule says that he was wrong. He's willing to accept Venom back and never let him go again. If he can only just stop hurting everyone. Venom is left stunned, which causes the Cell inside to start speaking, saying that he isn't going to stand for this, and he'll kill everyone here. Unlike the original story, Gohan and Cell are a lot more equal than before. It isn't a complete beatdown, and it's unclear who would win, but Venom was smart. He wasn't going to give up his chance to finally kill Goku and his son. They remained calm and collected. In fact, giving Gohan a chance to get the upper hand let him get too cocky. But it seems like they came to a standstill. Cell and Venom both wanted to kill Goku when Gohan realized he couldn't win alone. Goku put a hand on his son's shoulder, telling him that they're all here together. The Z-Fighters line up, charging up a blast, but Venom knew Goku inside and out. He knew how to stop him. Mr. Satan jumped in front of Cell, expanding his arms. He knew Venom deserved it, but he could be punished a different way. Cell slapped him away with a tentacle, saying he doesn't need his help. Once he slapped away, it is revealed that Cell had expanded, threatening to destroy the world. They can fire the blast, but they will doom the world as well. Gohan instantly drops the blast along with everyone else. He went back to normal, pointing at Gohan and egging him on. Their final battle was just beginning. It was his fault they were separated from their beloved Goku. The battle continued, with Goku helplessly watching the battle on between Cell and his son. It looked like things were really over. Mr. Satan spoke up from behind Goku, saying that this was his fault. He looked at Venom's face, remembering what it was like to be with it. It hurt him so. Goku told him it wasn't his fault. This is what the symbiote does. Use the user, hurt others. If it is anyone's fault, it's Goku's, since he brought it to Earth. Satan said that something was wrong though. because the symbiote was starting to change. It really seemed to care for him, his daughter, and other people. It was grieving, but moving on. It wasn't total evil. Goku sighed, saying that he hoped the same when he had the symbiote, but he was blinded, and sadly, there is no hope for it. Without another word, Goku flew towards the symbiote in order to help Gohan.
It's over, Son Gohan. You took me away from Son Goku. Now I will take you away from him.
The monster cupped his hands, charging up a corrupted green and black Kamehameha. The other Z-Fighters were hurt. They could only watch while Gohan fired his own Kamehameha. The beams clashed, but Cell clearly had the upper hand. Vegeta threw a blast at Cell, but one of his tendrils pierced through Vegeta. It didn't kill him, but it did put him out of commission. Gohan wouldn't be able to hold it for much longer. Goku jumped in behind, helping as much as he could, telling him to let it all out, but Gohan was still struggling. But Mr. Satan stood there, watching the blast. He knew he had to do something. He remembered all the times with the symbiote, even the nightmare he had of the memories on Namek. The symbiote was a vile being, but they became friends. He found himself taking steps towards Cell. He couldn't stop. Krillin told him to wait, but Mr. Satan wasn't listening. He was still very strong, but now he was just a normal human. He didn't have the symbiote, but he didn't need it. He had his heart. He had his word. Mr. Satan was behind Cell, and he yelled out,
Venom, even if we saw things differently, I still need you. We can forget about Goku. We can go back to saving the city. Think of Adele. She needs someone to protect her. Please, you are my friend.
Cell laughed, saying that those words are gonna do nothing, but when he tried to attack with the symbiote, it didn't react. Cell had to focus on the blast. He couldn't do anything about this. The android began to say no, 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 over and over again. Mr. Satan continued to explain that he needed him, that he knew he had changed. They had become warriors for justice together. They had become friends. They can be together again. The symbiote began to slowly tear off of Cell, and it jumped towards Mr. Satan. Suddenly, Cell's blast became much smaller. Goku yelled out, "Now!" with both him and Gohan pushing it forward. The blast was obviously going to consume Cell. Tien and the others watched in awe, but realized that Mr. Satan was behind there. He would be hit by the blast too. Mr. Satan didn't care. He had his arms open for the symbiote. He was just glad to have defended Earth. But the symbiote wasn't about to let his friend, his one true friend, die. While Cell was being consumed, the symbiote would not reach Mr. Satan in time to protect him, to make himself his suit again. It had only one choice. It expanded out, making itself a shield for Mr. Satan. Satan's eyes widened, tears streaming from them. He could see the Satan Dojo symbol on the symbiote. It screeched as it was killed. The blast dissipated, taking the symbiote along with him. It was finally over. Mr. Satan dropped to the ground. It was silent. Gohan went over to him, saying that it was thanks to him that they could win. Mr. Satan nodded. He knew that he had helped, but he had also lost a friend. Goku said that perhaps he was wrong about the symbiote. Perhaps he could have changed even more. He was sorry that this stupid rivalry between himself and the Red Ribbon Army cost so much. But he offered to bring the symbiote back with the Dragon Balls. Mr. Satan shook his head. No, they couldn't do that. It had caused a lot of pain. It was a bad guy. He gave him a second chance. It wasn't enough. Mr. Satan thanked them and said that they would keep in touch, but that for now, he just wanted to go back to his daughter. Goku smiled and patted him on the back, waving goodbye. Mr. Satan jumped up, waiting to fly away, but he dropped down. He couldn't fly anymore. It was the symbiote that helped him do that. But he felt someone grab his hand. It was Gohan. He smiled brightly at him, saying that he doesn't need the symbiote to fly anymore, because he's got a lot more friends now that will help him do that. Mr. Satan was very impressed by this kid. He was very smart for his age, and he had quite an outlook on life. He then nodded and told him that him and his daughter would probably get along. They seem about the same age. She's a great martial artist too. Gohan laughed, blasting off, taking Mr. Satan back to his home. It was finally time for the Z-Fighters, including Mr. Satan, to rest. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That was part 3 of What If Goku Had the Venom Symbiote. Although, this time it was a little bit more focused on Mr. Satan. I think it was cool, it gave me an opportunity to show off Cell, so that's always fun. Thank you to Professor Chimp for being the co-writer of the story. I couldn't have done it without him. This series in particular is a huge collaboration between me, Chimp, and Rajmain. Raj actually had the idea at first, and then we developed it from then on. I'm really happy that we can have these videos as a creative outlet. I always love having other people around. I'm not sure when part 4 will be out, but I'm really looking forward to the Boo arc. You guys are awesome and really rock. Eric Dragon, Ray Blades, Neil Whitcomb, Super Kami Mewtwo, Wayne Antoine, Dustin Nelson, Sacred Saiyan, Field J. Akir, Pizza Hut Kitman, Orlando Castellano, Hannah Rowan, Sir Justice, Midnight Combatant, The Real Samuel Randall, and Zachary Croy. But I want to give special thanks to Ray Blades, Neil Whitcomb, and Super Kami Mewtwo for being some of the first Ultra Instinct members of the channel. So if you guys are watching this, be sure to hit me up on Twitter or Discord or wherever you really want, and I will always respond to your comments. We can have some conversations and get to know each other a little bit. I think that'd be fun. Anyways, guys, until we meet again. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Smugstick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.